and that's a practice that continues today whenever Monopoly is introduced in a new country. In the United States, the property with the highest rank is Boardwalk, named for the famous Atlantic City Esplanade. But if you're playing the Spanish version of the game, the highest rent property is Paso del Prado, in First Street of Madrid. And in France, the most expensive place to rent is Rue de la Paix, a Parisian street. And in England, I think it's Mayfair.
I thought you were going to say, like, and in sub-Saharan Africa.
This probably isn't news to any foreign listeners listening right now, but we Americans forget that the world doesn't revolve around us. Ultimately, Monopoly was recreated in 113 different countries in over 46 different languages. To date, more than 275 million games have been sold. The original Monopoly game sold for $2, which is around $37 when adjusted for inflation. Today, you'll pay about $18.
Wow, it actually got cheaper.
It got cheaper, yeah.
That's wild.
People stop giving.
Yeah.
Also, it's like how many, like who's buying a new game of Monopoly? Like somebody, like
That's true.
You could get your hands on a game of Monopoly. It is 10:07 p.m. right now for me. Like I'm sure I could find a game of Monopoly without going to a store right now.
That's true.
It's like
it doesn't go away so much as it just shifts locations.
Yes. Conservation of mass energy, conservation of Monopoly.
That's actually a good wrinkle for it's a good wrinkle for the horror movie where it's like, where did this Monopoly game come from? I don't know. You know, the one that's gonna be just a snuff film with thinly veiled versions of America's wealthiest and best.
How creepy would it be if you like went to an attic and you found an old Monopoly game and you opened it up?
All of your faces were in there.
Oh, well, it's actually that's even better. Yeah, mine's not as good. I was gonna say you opened it and just all the squares were just blank.
Oh yeah, that'd be kind of good.
It's creepy. It's kind of creepy. Yeah.
It'd be great if you could just kind of hear like, you know, Dust Bowl farmers screaming. That's my pitch for a world historically unpopular game of Monopoly. One that would just play you oral histories of farmers from the Dust Bowl.
The Ken Burns Monopoly.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially illustrated by the Doria Lang photos. You know, just.
Oh man!
I really want you all to experience what this system has wrought while you have a fun time with your family.
Oh, you landed on Hooverville. $5.
Go to jail, but it's full, so I guess just die. Anyway, fun riff.
Instead of railroads, it's just like the push cart thing. Haunted Monopoly. Haunted Monopoly, I like that. I like that a lot.
We could Kickstarter it. People buy anything these days except for music. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, there's a movie too. Haunted Monopoly board.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I guess that's Jumanji.
Yeah, but like a nice, you know, we had like a brief spate of these like Eat the Rich movies that like didn't really move the Overton window at all on that, but they were fun to watch. So I don't know, verbal trademark.
This is a good segue though to the most expensive Monopoly set ever created.
Oh yeah, just another indignity heaped upon poor Lizzie McGee.
Yes, it was created by one of your fellow San Franciscans, a jeweler named Sidney Lobel. It featured a 23-karat gold board, 18-karat pieces, diamond-studded dice, and money made of gold leaf, costing upwards of $2 million. It has never been sold and is currently on display in the Smithsonian.
It's funny about Lobel because what you just described was commissioned or coincided with the 1988 World Monopoly Tournament then held in London. But prior to that, his entire claim to fame was just making really expensive versions of cheap pop culture crap. He had like a normal jewelry business, but his first big splash was he created a near perfect replica in all gold of the popular Mickey Mouse watch that had been going around. So he eventually made a copy for Roy Disney, and then he made a similar solid gold Charlie Brown watch for Charles Schultz. For the birthday of Ray Kroc, who built the McDonald's franchise into the disgusting empire that it is today, and which we will touch on later, he designed a gold mousetrap.
I don't get it. Why gold mouse?
He built a better mousetrap. That's like the log line about
McDonald's.
About McDonald's, yeah.
I've never heard that.
Oh, please.
I would assume you wouldn't want to like link mousetraps with food.
Okay, the original quote is actually actually credited to Ralph Waldo Emerson, of all people. Originally, build a better mousetrap and the world will beat a path to your door.
Okay.
Build a better mousetrap and the world will beat a path to your door. Originated in a slightly different form with Ralph Waldo Emerson. He wrote in his journal under the heading Common Sense in February of 1855. If man has good corn or wood, or boards or pigs to sell, or can make better chairs or knives, crucibles or church organs than anybody else, you will find a broad, hard-beaten road to his house, though it may be in the woods. So that should have been edited for clarity and length, as we often say about interviews. But in May of 1882, a month after his death, that quotation was altered and attributed to him by the Cincinnati Enquirer with the line, "If a man can write a better book, preach a better sermon, or make a better mousetrap than his neighbors, though he builds his house in the woods, the world will make a beaten path to his door." I'm not sure when it popped into like popular consciousness, but you know, it's just the title of every one of these books about business.
I can't believe I've never heard that. I've never heard that.
Oh, you know what? Here it is. Here's an interesting posit. The popular modern snap trap version of the mousetrap was invented by William C. Hooker in 1894 and then improved upon by a guy named John Mast in 1899. So this is just like 12 and under 20 years after that it had appeared as part of Emerson's like obituaries. So yeah, that's interesting. But yes, it was a massacred quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson's diary.
And even weirder, we were talking about Mousetrap, the game, earlier in this episode.
They don't want you to notice the patterns. Anyway,
that's really cool. Thank you for that.
Well, anyway, after he did that for Ray Kroc, he then whimsically bought a can of sardines at the grocery store and decided to make an 18-karat gold can of sardines with diamond sardines inside.
How do you feel about that stuff?
What, sardines?
Oh no, I'm very pro sardines.
Oh, you mean just somebody?
Yeah, but Lux Warhol.
Somebody making luxury versions of common American consumer goods. Well, it's reprehensible, but what isn't? You know,
was he like? I mean, was it like a Warholian approach of like, I'm gonna elevate this to art, or was it?
I think he might have preceded Warhol, actually.
Oh wow.
Well, it actually might have coincided. As owner of this is per the Smithsonian. As owner of a San Francisco jewelry store in the 1960s, Mobile said, "I figured I had to do something as far as competition, something different that nobody else does," and that led him to making the gold Mickey Mouse watch. But it wasn't even commissioned.
He just did it.
The Monopoly board, yeah, it was. I contacted them and they said, "If you can make this thing look exactly like our $30 Monopoly board, we'll send you to London and that'll be the featured item." He says, "When I got there, the news hit and it was picked up in every television station in London. All of a sudden, I had become famous." And so the Smithsonian have 20 of this guy's works, not just the Monopoly board, but a gold and diamond pacifier, a yo-yo, presumably also made of just a regular yo-yo. No, obviously, you idiots, an expensive yo-yo. A gemstone-covered cell phone, and his 2004...
Gemstone cell phone.
Like a gemstone cell phone. His 2004 replica of the Smithsonian Castle is permanently on display. Well, yeah, that's great. Just love what, just love these metaphors that just keep piling up. Little on the nose, world.
Well, here, maybe this will make you a little happier. There was also a chocolate version of the game sold by Neiman Marcus in 1978 for $600, which is the equivalent of $3,000 today.
Well, I'm a big fan of chocolate. I often, in times of sorrow,
I'm a big fan of $3,000.
But I often, in times of trouble, Kathy comforts me, speaking words of wisdom. Chocolate. Any of this landing?
I love that. I love that. Here, this really bothers me. There will never be a complete list of Monopoly editions because there are simply too many, plus an untold number of exclusive editions that have been made for non-commercial use. For Guinness,
sure.
as of December 2024, the world record collector has 4,379 different sets of Monopoly.
Would that satisfy you, or you it's just you're the completest in use? Just
That I'll never know.
You'll
I'll
never know.
And that really bothers me. How many grains of sand are there on the beach of Coney Island, and how many Monopoly editions are there in the world? And the fact that I can't know it really freaks me out at night.
Is that grain of sand thing from something?
No.
Because there's a spoken word passage in Philip Glass's Einstein on the Beach that has this. It's actually quite lovely. It's this section that starts with like two lovers sit alone on a park bench, and he's like, the one line is count the number of grains of sand on the beach. That is how much I love you.
Yeah, that sounds familiar actually.
I openly wept at this when I saw this. Okay, where was I?
Well, we're going to take it back a bit. We're going to talk about the famous man on the Monopoly box. This gentleman's name has been a hotly debated topic over the years. Officially, according to game lore, his name is Rich Uncle Pennybags, and he actually had a Parker Brothers game of his own for a number of years.
Lame.
You tell me that he actually has several.
Yes, Jordan, he actually had several. In 1940, Parker Brothers spun him off into a game called Dig, and 6 years later starred him in a third, Rich Uncle. The latter remained in production through the 1950s. He was spun off again in 1985 into a new game called Advance to Boardwalk, and yet again in Free Parking, which is, you guessed it, about trying to avoid parking fines. Or make money from them, I guess.
But, Michael Caine voice, not many people know that that's the Monopoly man's name. Hasbro conducted a study in 1999 which determined that most people simply, and in my opinion rather lazily and uncreatively, called the mascot Mr. Monopoly. So Hasbro caved to popular idiocy and officially changed his name to Mr. Monopoly later that same year. Other official names within the Monopoly game include Jake the Jailbird, supposedly designed by Darrow as a less than flattering self-portrait to make fun of himself. It's a way of admitting he belonged to jail.
It does make him sound like a Philadelphian.
There's Officer Edgar Mallory as the guy who goes directly to jail square. And the decks of cards also include Rich Uncle Pennybags' wife, Madge, who I've also seen described as Maud, and his 3 nephews, Randy, Sandy, and Andy.
Oi.
You like that?
Yeah. Well, the first Mr. Monopoly appeared in the winning pitch of the version of the game that Darrow eventually sold. It was drawn by his buddy, who is a political cartoonist who went by Franklin F.O. Alexander. Fun fact, that winning version of the game that was accepted was inspired by the Quakers version. So, not only did he rip off a nice lady who just wanted to preach against capitalism, he also ripped off the Quakers. Religious sect, the Quakers. Anyway,
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod, the Quakers. I f with the Quakers, actually.
Yeah,
you go back and look at them. They've been on kind of the right side of history of almost every military conflict and moral issue since their founding. Anyway, F.O. Alexander drew the event cards for the initial, much smaller production run of the game in 1935 when they first commissioned it and launched it. However, in late 1936, the design for the cards changed, and it was the newly commissioned artist, whose name is Daniel Fox, who created the version of the man we now know as Mr. Monopoly. For F.O.'s troubles, he was reportedly, checks notes, never paid by the company and received no royalties. This is doubly horrifying because he continued to do other work for the company, including on the same character. He allegedly drew Rich Uncle on the box of the aforementioned 1946 spin-off game, Rich Uncle. In 2013, though, a woman named Wendy Wolf had read an author named Philip Urbain's books, The Monopoly Companion and Monopoly, the world's most famous game. In this book, there is a claim that the original artist behind Rich Uncle was unknown. Wendy Wolf turns out to be the granddaughter of this artist named Daniel Fox, and she contacted Urbain's And her family came together and sent this author material that identifies Daniel as the originator. Allegedly, things like receipts, first drafts, contracts between him and Parker Brothers. I haven't bought the books, and I wasn't able to find them for free online, so I don't know exactly the depth of it. But the reason why Ethel Alexander's name comes up first online is because of search engine optimization. A woman named Mary Pilon wrote a short article for